Two healthcare companies both announced an AI partnership with Anthropic last week. One of them told me exactly which employee checks the AI's work before it reaches a patient. Most people who read both of these announcements will think it's the same news, but they're not even close. By the end of this video, you'll know which kind of claim to trust the next time a vendor tells you that their AI is responsible. I spent years coordinating care for one of my family members, my spouse, and he had 9 specialists along with his PCP, and they didn't always talk to each other. They rarely did. When you deal with enough of that, using paper spreadsheets because different portals and systems don't sync with each other, you get sharp to one thing: who is actually accountable when a decision gets made? And that's the lens that I'm bringing to these two announcements. If you sell into health systems, then your buyers are about to start asking this question, and you're going to need a better answer than, "We value oversight." On July 13th, Optum Insight CEO Sandeep Dadlani announced that Optum is deploying Claude to reduce administrative burden and make everyday interactions clearer. These were his exact words. Privacy, safety, and human oversight remain foundational. AI supports clinical judgment. It does not replace it. And that's the whole announcement. There's no named use case, there's no timeline, and there's no explanation of how Claude interacts with Optum's existing AI stack. So compare that announcement to what you would hear from a vendor pitch. Would saying "we value security" be enough for you without a single spec attached? Values language sounds like governance, but it isn't governance until it names a checkpoint. UST, a tech services company, announced its Anthropic integration too. Claude embedded in CarePath, its claims and care management platform. Their language in the announcement does name the exact mechanism. Claude Code and MCP connectors will link the platform directly to claims and care management systems, while an agentic layer routes each recommended action for approval before it reaches a member. Notice the difference here in this announcement to Optum's. You got a specific system name, a technical connection, and human checkpoint before anything touches a patient's information. This is what a government's claim looks like when someone can actually be held accountable for it. Neither company is necessarily lying. That's not what I'm saying. But only one of them gave you something to verify. In my video that I made a few months ago called "Who Authorized That AI?", I made the argument that governance is a workflow design decision, not a value statement. Optum and UST just gave us a live example of that. In the same week, from the same industry, partnering with the same AI company. So I'm not claiming a new thesis now. I'm just saying here's proof that that was the right call. And if you haven't watched this video yet, it's a real-world version of the argument playing out in real time. So there's a link in the description if you want to break down, and I'll also put it on the end screen. It breaks down what a governance mechanism should actually include. Now I'm going to point out what each press release didn't say out loud. UnitedHealth Group, Optum's parent company, is currently defending a federal class action lawsuit. Estate of Loken versus UnitedHealth Group, alleging that an older AI tool called NH Predict drove post-acute care coverage denials for Medicare Advantage members, including who died. In March of this year, a federal judge ordered UnitedHealth to hand over broad discovery on how that tool was actually used, and that case is still active. Optum has denied these allegations. Medical necessity determinations, they say, are made by physicians following CMS guidance, not AI. An ongoing lawsuit alleges wrongdoing, and that's not the same as a finding of fact, but the discovery order tells you that the court did not find this claim to be frivolous. The same executive in the same month promises that clinicians will stay in control on a brand new AI partnership, while at the same time defending a lawsuit that argues that an older AI tool did the opposite. And this is why the human stays in control needs to be a workflow spec, not just a press quote. My late husband had a post-acute care claim that was denied by an ACA plan, and although there was no AI involved, I recognize something in this Optum lawsuit that's worth me saying out loud. It's not about the tech, it's about the shape of the failure. It was a coverage decision that was made by someone I couldn't call at the moment that it mattered the most. So the fact pattern is different, but the category of harm is the same. I remember us going to urgent care and getting denied because of his insurance. And it shows what happens when accountability gets automated without a real checkpoint. This is the personal stake, at least with my one example, behind why having human oversight cannot just stay as a quote or some slogan. UST's press release described the goal as moving healthcare from isolated AI pilots to trusted enterprise-scale AI embedded in the systems that drive their business. That one sentence is a supporting data point for a much bigger conversation about why AI adoption stalls in health systems, which I broke down in this video. So the vendor side is admitting that most AI healthcare deployment to date has been pilot theater, demos that never touch a real workflow. So remember that the next time that you go to a vendor's website and the homepage says AI powered with no mention on who checks the output. This one was quick, but I still want to hear from you. So drop a comment below. When you've read an announcement about AI governance from a health system or a vendor, could you actually name the checkpoint that they described? Or was it values language dressed up as a policy? Just curious what you're seeing in your inbox. And there's a full argument behind everything that I walked through, as I mentioned earlier, in this video, who authorized that AI. And it'll change how you read the next vendor pitch that lands in your inbox. Now here's a preview. Things like, can you tell me exactly what your AI is authorized to do within our workflow? What happens when your model is updated? How do we get notified? How do we verify that your tool is operating within the policy boundaries we set? And if something goes wrong, where does the audit log live? With you or with us? If your sales team is not prepared to answer these questions, the deal doesn't just stall. It quietly dies while your champion loses confidence and can't build the internal case to move forward.